13 slots, positions 30 down through 18, all locked. The ladder is filling up fast. Today is day 3, episode 4. Number 17 is about to land, and I will say this much before I say who it is. Someone at this desk has had something to say about this team since episode 5.
Kid, if you drag this out any longer, I'm gonna lose my mind. You have been sitting on my sleeper for 9 episodes. 9, do you know how long that is? That is 3 months of arguments at McGinty's. Flip the card.
Number 17, the Kansas City Royals.
Quell okay, people. Day 3, episode 4, and Sully just sat up 3 inches in his chair. I have not seen that posture since he found out McGinty's was getting a new TV. Sully's sleeper team is finally here. Let us see if this thing is actually real.
I've been waiting 9 episodes for this. 9. I called the Royals in episode 5. Everybody laughed. Kenji's algorithm had them fringe playoff. Deivy said I was watching too many Bobby Witt highlight reels. And here we are, 82 wins last year. Tell me I was wrong.
Broder, 82 wins is 3 games over 500. That is not a sleeper. That is a nap. I sleep longer than that on Sunday. The thesis was the Royals were gonna surprise everybody. They surprised nobody. They were exactly average.
They went 82-80 with Bobby Witt carrying a roster full of question marks. Cole Reagan's missed time. Seth Lugo's back blew out in September. You're looking at a team that survived its own injury report and still finished above 500. That is the foundation, not the ceiling.
The injury point is correct. Ragans and Lugo were both on the injured list at different points in the second half. The model accounts for this. Projected wins for 2026, 82. Same as last year. Health restores them to baseline, not above it.
Baseline. You put Bobby Witt Jr. in the baseline bucket. Kenji, this kid, is an MVP candidate. Last year he hit 32 home runs, hit .330, and he plays shortstop like he invented the position. You cannot run a standard projection on a player like that.
This is actually the most interesting question this team raises for the model. Bobby Witt Jr.'s individual WAR accounted for more than a third of the team's positive run contribution in 2025. One player, 1/3. That is the one-man show in data form.
So what happens when he has a bad month? When he pulls a hamstring in May? The whole franchise limps. That is not a sleeper pick, Sully. That is a one-player parlay. You are betting the whole ticket on one number.
Fine, let's talk about what's around him. Jonathan India at second base, Vinny Pasquantino at first, Cole Reagan's healthy, Seth Lugo healthy, and a kid in right field, Jack Caglianone, who was the best power bat in the draft class when they took him. That is not nothing.
Pasquantino I like. Consistent bat, good approach. But Jonathan India played through a wrist sprain last year and ended up on the IL in September. When is the last time India played a full, healthy season? I need receipts, Sully, not vibes.
India's wrist sprain in 2025 was his third significant soft tissue injury in 3 seasons. The model flags durability as a genuine risk at second base. If India misses 60 games, the lineup drops from average to below average, and the one-man show gets more isolated.
And what about Salvador Perez behind the plate? The guy is a legend. 35 years old and he still blocks everything and calls a game like nobody in the league. You want to talk about what surrounds Witt? Salvi surrounds him.
Salvi is my guy. Venezuelan, 5 gold gloves, World Series ring in Kansas City. He gives this team credibility and a real veteran identity. Sully, you want to put Salvi on the all-time lineup? The catcher slot is open in my heart, even if it is locked for you.
The catcher slot is taken, kid. Johnny Bench, that is not changing. But Salvi is genuinely my second favorite catcher in the game. If I had 10 slots, Salvi is in there at 9. I love what he does for a young pitching staff. The game calling alone.
Cole Reagan's healthy is a legitimate number 2 starter in this league. His 2024 season before the injury was elite. Sub-3 ERA elite stuff, strikeout to walk rate near 12-1 at his peak. A healthy Reagan's behind Lugo changes the rotation math significantly.
If healthy. My Tio Ramon always said a man who borrows tomorrow's strength to pay for today's effort will always end up broke. I'm not building my sleeper case around a pitcher's elbow holding together for 162 games.
Your Tio Ramon has a quote for everything. Does he have one for when you're just wrong? Ragans was on a rehab assignment in September and came back. He is pitching in spring training. The elbow is fine, the man is ready to go.
I want to revisit the model here. The crack zone question this episode is a new category. It is not variance. It is not framework. It is not mediocrity. The question is whether the model can properly value a team where one superstar creates multiplier effects that standard WAR accumulation does not capture. Witt changes how opponents pitch to every batter around him.
9 episodes in, and the algorithm finally admits it might not see everything. This is exactly what I have been saying since episode 5. The superstar effect is real. A lineup with a true franchise player punches above its weight because pitchers have to respect that one guy no matter what.
I said the question exists. I did not say the model is wrong. The projection still lands at 82. But the confidence interval this episode is 12 wins wide, 76 to 88. Same width as the Giants' last episode. 2 consecutive teams producing the same interval. Different reasons. Same uncertainty. The crack is not shrinking.
So Kenji is saying the model gets the Royals right, but also admits it might not. That is having both sides of the argument and paying for neither. You cannot collect the winnings if the horse wins and also say you were not sure about the horse.
88. Kenji, you just said 88 is the ceiling. If this team hits 88 wins, they are in the playoffs. Tell me that does not validate the sleeper pick. I call this, you just confirmed the upside exists.
Sully, the ceiling is not the projection. The projection is 82. Same as last year. You're celebrating the best case like it is the most likely case. That is not how probability works. That is how heartbreak works.
And you're hiding behind probability to ignore what your eyes tell you. Witt Jr. is a different kind of player. He is a guy who changes every inning he is in. You do not reduce that to a number. Some things are what they are.
Jack Caglianone in right field. I want to note this prospect specifically. Top college bat in the 2024 draft class. Power projection is elite. Contact at the major league level is still developing. If Caglianone produces at ceiling, the lineup has a genuine second dangerous bat alongside Witt.
I like the kid. Big, strong left-handed swing with real power. If he hits 25 home runs in year 1, this team suddenly has 2 legitimate threats, and the whole one-man show argument changes. But that is a big if for a rookie.
That is the entire bet right there. Caglianone hits, Ragans is healthy, Witt is Witt. This team goes 86, 87 wins. That is a wild card spot in the AL. That is exactly what I called in episode 5. My sleeper is right.
Since we are talking about bets, let's not forget what is actually on the table here. The Adele side bet from episode 3 is one thing, but the sleeper clause says if Sully's team does not break 85 wins, Sully buys a round for the whole broadcast on opening night. You're at 82 projected, 3 games short of saving your wallet.
First of all, the Adele bet and the sleeper clause are 2 separate humiliations you're trying to combine into one second. I said the Royals would surprise, and finishing 82 with that injury report is already a surprise. Third, the season has not started yet. Ask me again in October.
For accuracy, the sleeper clause threshold was 85 wins, established in episode 5. The current projection is 82. Sully needs 3 more wins from this roster than the model currently sees. That is the precise gap between vindication and a round of drinks on opening night.
I love that you memorized the exact terms, Kenji. That is why we keep you around. Sully is looking at me like I invented the bet. Brother, you shook hands on it. Tio Ramon would say a man who cannot hold his handshake cannot hold a bat.
Your Tio Ramon has never been to Kansas City. I have. Kauffman Stadium Friday night, Bobby Witt going yard in the 6th inning to put him up 3. I was there. 37,000 people who all believed. You do not get that feeling from a spreadsheet.
Okay, hold on. I want to be fair. This is real for Sully. The passion is coming through. But Kenji and me, we cannot just hand you. This one, 82 wins, 3 games out of the playoffs, a 500 record. The model called it exactly. That is not a sleeper. That is a projection.
A real sleeper is a team nobody is picking. That sneaks up on the division. The Royals are not getting magazine covers. They are not getting predictions. Everyone forgets they exist. And then Witt goes MVP and the rotation holds and suddenly they are in October. That is the sleeper.
I want to give Sully this one point. The attention argument is valid. The Royals are genuinely undercovered relative to their talent concentration. Witt is top 5 among position players in baseball by any advanced metric, and the national conversation treats him like a regional story. That is real.
That is fair. Bobby Witt Jr. deserves more national love. He really does. But Sully, loving your pick is not the same as the pick being right. You have been defending this team for 9 episodes. At some point, the roster has to match the conviction.
And while we are here, I want to say something about my all-time lineup. Being in Kansas City and watching this roster got me thinking about third base. Michael Garcia is young with real tools. I'm starting to think about who plays the hot corner in my lineup. Not committing today, but the thought is there.
Third base. Mike Schmidt, Wade Boggs, Sully. If the next pick is not a Dominican third baseman, I'm adding a 14th entry to the list before you finish the sentence. I am serious. Do not do this to me.
I'm not committing to anything today. I just said I'm thinking you do not rush a good lineup the same way you do not rush a good cup of black coffee. Let me sit with it. Some things need time.
Win total? I will go first. The model says 82. I'm staying with 82. The confidence interval is 12 wins wide, and that is unusual for a team with this profile. But the central projection does not move until the model sees a concrete reason: 82 wins. Fringe playoff does not make it.
80 wins. The rotation is shakier than anybody wants to admit right now. Ragans is a question mark until he throws 100 healthy innings. Lugo had the back issue late. The rest of the staff cannot carry the load if those two miss time. 80 wins. Just under 500.
86. That is my number. Witt is healthy. Ragans comes back. Caglianone contributes. Salvi calls 120 games, and this team goes 86 and 76 and forces everybody to pay attention in September. That is my pick. That has been my pick. That is still my pick.
86. Sully, you are giving them 4 more wins than the algorithm and 4 more than me. This team is standing on the shoulders of one man. I respect the passion. I do not respect the math. The Royals are the one-man show, and one man cannot carry October alone.
You're both wrong, and I cannot wait to prove it. 86 wins. Bobby Witt Jr. for MVP Kauffman Stadium in October. Write it down. I have been waiting 9 episodes to say this, and I'm saying it clean. The Kansas City Royals are my team this year.
The people have heard it. Sully's sleeper is official. Kansas City Royals, 86 wins, Bobby Witt for MVP, number 17 on Kenji's ladder. And if they finish at 82, Sully buys the round. We will be back for number 16. The Astros are next, and that one is going to be something else.